I had no idea who the hell I was. I was a crazy teenager, 15, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I saw the music. I heard the music.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. On this episode, I have the honor of speaking with the legendary Mark Tabor. As you can imagine, we get into a lot over a 60-plus year music career, including how he first got into playing the piano, the start of the Tombstone Blues Band, how music is a great mechanism to give back to the community, and his experiences playing shows with some of the most acclaimed artists over the last half-century. As always, I hope you enjoy. If you do, please feel free to check out some earlier episodes I've done with people such as Duke Robillard and Rudy Cheeks. And make sure to follow Where the Living Room Used to Be on Facebook and Instagram for a chance to see some show photos and flyers from Mark's time in music.
I mean, do you want to pick up our left-handed chair conversation, or should we talk about music, Mark? I don't know.
Well, the left-handed thing, there's really something to it. I mean, are you left-handed?
No, but Garrison is, though.
I am.
Yeah, and my mom is left-handed.
Yeah,
so
I'm left-handed. My son is left-handed. Sam is left-handed. And back in the old days, left-handed people, it was not a good thing.
No?
You could be a witch.
Oh, they just, like, outcast you?
Oh, yeah. It's always a negative thing. Like, if you bought a car and it didn't turn out well, you got a left-handed deal.
Oh.
Don't listen to him. He's out left field somewhere. I mean, the left has always been a negative kind of a thing, which I see as a positive.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting... And I've read up on things like that about left-handed things, and they take a lot of shit, frankly, over there.
Well, how do you think that has affected your playing?
I think the only way that's affected my playing is because I'm left-handed.
Yeah, but does that help with your left-handed piano?
And I don't know whether it's because I'm left-handed or not, but I would think it would be. I naturally like to play a lot of bass, like Boogie Woogie. When I first learned Boogie Woogie with the left hand, I mean, I was just a kid, but it was difficult at first. But as soon as I learned how to do it, I took to it. And bass, to me, is very, very important. Mm-hmm. And I love piano because you're a bass player, too.
Yeah.
You got to back up your own stuff.
Yep.
So then, in that case, it's important.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there was this guy, I met him, and he had just graduated from Berkeley in Boston, School of Music, music school. And he said he just graduated. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what I've heard, people who go to Berkeley, piano players especially, they barely use their left hand. It's all right hand work, played really quick runs, and occasionally, maybe your 2 or 3 finger chord with your left hand. I said, I've heard that they're considering at Berkeley, if you're a piano player, to have your left hand surgically removed before you begin school, because you don't need it.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, you're a drummer. Now, does that play with you as far as being right-handed and how you...
Yes, well, I fall into pretty typical drum playing, I would say. Okay. You know, like I play cross-handed, right-handed, but I've seen some drummers, and there's honestly like a little bit of envy that are either left-handed that will play, like one comes to mind that he is left-handed, but he plays a right-handed set open-handed. So he basically has his hi-hat on his left as well as his ride. So he's able just to do some things that are that wouldn't really come naturally to me.
Okay.
Or even kind of hearing like what Ringo Starr has done with the Beatles. Like he's left-handed playing a right-handed drum. So a lot of the stuff that would come to him naturally are just what would be considered quote unquote like weird things, but they're like iconic pieces just because it kind of has that creativity to it. So
well, with drums too, you can place the drums any place you want.
Yeah.
Whereas on a piano, it doesn't, you know,
You're
the
not
low
gonna-
notes are here and the high notes are there,
Yeah.
and that's all there is to it. But drummers can move that stuff around
Exactly.
any way they want.
Yeah. Brian Chippendale from Lightning Bolt has a very unique setup.
Really?
And yeah, it's, you know, just benefited him in a way that's, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm just, you know, you can't really change the piano around. You can't,
Can't do that.
restring the chords. But maybe they should make left-handed pianos, right? You know, so. But yeah, what got you into music, Mark?
I was raised in it
Yeah? Where did you grow up?
in East Providence, and my mother played piano.
Yep.
She was raised, her family, there were 5 girls, a mom and a dad. They all played musical instruments,
Okay.
different ones.
Yep.
So at night, very often they would sit down together and play like the same songs that were popular back then, like, I don't know, Dr. Stroh's Ball and all that kind of weird shit. But
Okay.
and they were a band. They didn't go out and play in nightclubs,
Yep.
but they could
They
play.
just played
Somebody
up, yeah.
would, because there was enough there. Somebody played piano, the violin, the accordion, the ukulele, the guitar. Somebody, I mean, they had it all down.
Wow.
And I obviously wasn't around for that.
Yeah.
But I would hear stories about it. But also, when one of my aunts would come to visit my mom, her sister, I would be in awe of them sitting down at the piano and singing the songs together, and then they'd take turns playing, and I would just stand there and be in absolute awe. I'd say, wow, that is so cool. And I asked, I was really young, kids would be forced to take piano lessons. I asked her, I said, can I take piano lessons?
Really, like you were instantly drawn to it?
I was just pulled into it.
Yeah.
The piano was my favorite piece of furniture in the whole house. It was a big old upright, and it had the pedals on it, you know, if you wanted to play, but that part was broken, but it was an old player piano.
Yep.
But you could open up the bottom and pull out the pedals, and you could pull open the top and hit the notes and watch the hammers go back and forth. And the record player was, the 78 record player was on top of the piano. I remember one time, I climbed up on the piano. I got up there, right at the very top, and it was king of the mountain.
Really?
And my mother walked in, said, and when she got angry with me, she called me by both names. She said, Mark Tabor, what are you doing up there? You come down from there. You know, I got in trouble. But I used to hide some of my little cars down below inside the pit. I just was drawn to it.
Yeah. And how old were you at this time?
4 or 5.
Wow, okay.
I started
So like
taking lessons when I was
earliest
5 or
memories,
6.
basically?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And the piano was always there.
Yeah.
And my cousins would come down every now and then and show me little notes to hit, to play boogie woogie,
Yep.
that kind of stuff. And I would just soak that stuff up. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I took classical about 7 years.
Classical piano lessons?
Classical
Yeah.
piano. And again, my mother would get upset with me. It'd be a beautiful day, and she'd come downstairs, and I'd be practicing away, you know, Beethoven or Brahms or whatever.
Yep.
And she'd come out with, Mark Tabor, it's a beautiful day out today. The sun is out. Now you go down the lot at the end of the street where the kids are playing baseball and go out and get some fresh air. Go play baseball with those kids. You're not going to stay in here playing that all day long. And I had to, so I went down there. Of course, I sucked. I couldn't hit the ball. I couldn't kick. That was terrible.
Yeah.
I was the one they would give the quarters to when the ice cream truck came. Mark, go get you know, 3 fudgicles, 2 popsicles, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. I was the go-getter.
The errand, yeah.
Well, I just absolutely loved it and took to it. And then a friend of mine, as we grew in the 6th grade, his name was Billy Prisco. He's passed. But I went to his house, which was across the field in the next house over. And I walked in there, and his older brother, Louis, he's passed, lost him. He'd be playing these old 78s of Count Basie and Duke Ellington.
Wow, yeah.
I never heard that music, James. I never heard that.
Yeah.
My house was Lawrence Welcome. That was it.
Yeah.
Wow. And then he'd play all these other records and blues that he had there, and Muddy Waters, and Lightning Hopkins, and he went on and on and on. And it was like a picture window just opened up, and I couldn't get enough of that. Wow.
Yeah, okay.
And listen to all the styles of piano, like Oscar Peterson. I just love Oscar Peterson. You couldn't help but notice it, and I would start buying records. You know.
Okay.
Monday morning, I'd get my allowance, and my friend Billy got his allowance, and we would bunk school. We'd go downtown, around the corner from where the living room used to be, on Empire Street, to Ray Moffat's Music. And we'd be there every Monday, and we'd buy an album. We would have enough Miami albums. I think they were $3.10.
Okay.
For an album. And we would spend hours going through all the jazz, and we both get one and wait for the right time to go home and go up to my room and play these albums. It was...
Were your parents ever
they got
like suspicious all of a sudden? Like, where did all these records come from? And
after a while. It took a while. I used to hide them under my bed and everything, you know. But it did become a problem.
Yeah. But, and were you like really focused on jazz, or was it still you were buying that spectrum of stuff?
At that time, I went to jazz.
There was a lot of jazz, yeah.
I was probably 15 or so, 14, 15. I just went headlong into it. I just was totally taken by it. I was just amazed, and still am. I make the comparison now. Like you take Brubeck, Count Basie, Monk, Ellington, Bud Powell, any of those guys back then had a very distinctive style.
Mm-hmm.
You knew who the piano player was just when you walked in the room. Whatever record, you knew who was playing piano.
Yeah,
they were that distinct. And I compare it to the way cars were at that time. Even cars made of the same company, General Motors, or Chrysler, whatever, you could easily tell a Buick from an Oldsmobile, from a Pontiac. All those cars, Chrysler, Plymouth Dodge, they all were unique. There was no mistaking a Ford from a Plymouth. I mean, it just, and I make that comparison. Nowadays, when I have heard, I don't listen to it that much now, but when I tune on the radio at night to hear some jazz coming out of Boston, a lot of those piano players, to me, I can't tell the difference.
No. Any
more than I can tell a Rolls Royce from a Ford Pinto anymore. I mean, the cars look so much alike.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's
like
economy reasons
or whatever,
and gas and all that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me, but I do make that comparison.
Yeah.
I don't notice big differences in the newer musicians coming out.
What do you think that's from? Is it?
I don't know.
So like just a general, because all of these earlier artists, it seems that they were blazing their own paths with that, that there weren't those people that were before them, and now all of these people are they're using them as reference. And
possibly. Maybe all the paths have been blazed.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the different styles, you think of, jazz hot and jazz cool. When Birth of the Blues came out with Miles Davis on the West Coast, that was a whole new world.
Yeah.
Holy, listen to this guy. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. You know, and I took to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, wow, Miles. But it wasn't that Dizzy Gillespie, you know, kind of stuff. And then there was Chet Baker, who he was all laid back and but had such a unique style.
Yeah.
I guess people found whatever one they were comfortable in and took it from there.
Yeah.
Then you had the freeform kind of stuff, McCoy Tyner and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But, like, who are you pulling from then? Are there certain people that you gravitated more towards?
Very much so. Errol Garner.
Okay.
Oscar Peterson. Some Brubeck, but not as much. But I would say mostly from the school of Oscar Peterson, and Garner was from him. But they all would kind of melt in together. But I would say the swing of the hardcore, like Oscar Peterson he'd back up everybody, and he had a trio.
Mm-hmm.
He and Ray Brown and Ed Thigpen on drums, Ray Brown on bass. And there are more albums out with Oscar Peterson Trio with Coleman Hawkins, with Ben Webster, with various singers.
Yeah.
You know, they just backed up everybody. And I just thought it was just so beautiful because as a trio, I mean, what I love now when I don't play with too many people now. It's just not the way it is. But if you're in a band, and you're in a band, musicians who actually listen to what each other does is huge.
Yeah.
Some bands don't do that very well. They're in it for themselves. They don't even care what the bass player is, what kind of line he's putting down. They just want him there.
Yeah.
But the bass player could be playing some pretty damn interesting shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could be going along with that if you wanted to. I mean, you should. And the drummer. And, I mean, people listen to what these people, they're musicians.
Yeah.
And I think that takes a while for a lot of people to do.
Yeah.
You know.
When did you start playing? Like start playing out?
I started playing out when I was 15.
Yeah.
I played at the Merrill Lounge in East Providence.
Okay.
On South Broadway. I guess it was North Broadway. With Bob Bovee on bass and Denny Dow on drums. And we would play at the Merrill Lounge.
Yeah.
And I just ate it up. I said, and there's this big old upright piano. They didn't have electric pianos then. Anyway.
Yeah.
This big old upright with cigarette burns all on the keys. And it smelled like a beer. And, you know, just a beat up old thing. But it was reasonably in tune. And that was just great. I love that.
Yeah. What were you playing then?
We were doing mostly kind of jazz
just
kind
jazz
of stuff.
Yeah. Like just pulling some charts and...
Well, we start with easier things like C-Jam Blues, then we get into Green Dolphin Street and Satin Dow. Everybody wanted to hear Satin Dow. Kind of the regular, the standards, let's say, jazz standards.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. Did they know how old you were, or they didn't care?
I wasn't allowed to drink.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
They let me know that pretty quick.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They didn't want us in there, but the owner heard me play, so the owner wanted me there. They said, but you only get Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
That's it. You know,
yeah.
Or water. You're not doing... Because I really wanted to get a beer. I mean, I wanted to be one of the grown-ups.
Yeah.
Because, yes, another thing, too, because I would buy these books, a couple of pictorial books of jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Every jazz musician, almost every picture in these books, there was a cigarette hanging out of their lip,
just the...
or stuck on the top of a guitar. There'd be a drink on the piano or on the table right next to... I mean, almost all, you'd see them, they'd be playing their instruments with a cigarette. And
yeah.
I just wanted to be somebody. I didn't know who the hell I was anyway.
Yeah.
But I said, this provided a very interesting image of someone to be. So you got to smoke cigarettes. If you're going to play jazz, you got to smoke and you got to drink.
That's what you were...
At least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which was overdone, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. So how often were you playing in this club, or what was the kind of the next step?
We got there weekly.
Yep.
And then I started doing solo stuff. I met some other kids in high school, and I go over to their house. One was the sax player, Randy Texera, and he played sax, and this other guy, Ray, would play drums. And we just played a play. We weren't playing out.
Yeah.
His father was an East Providence detective, so we somehow got permission to go to the FOP hall.
Okay.
The Fraternal Order of Police in East Providence, which was downstairs, and there was an old upright piano in there, so they let us go down there. Like off-duty cops would be sitting there drinking beer. They'd like it if we came in, and of course Ronnie's dad was very proud of us. Yeah, that's my son, that's his friend Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that fairly often.
Yeah. Wow.
So there were places that they weren't gigs.
Yeah, but you're just already playing out, like already kind of like in that scene.
Good experience.
Yeah. What was the first official band that you played in then?
The official band would be now we get into the Ken Lyon.
Yeah, Tombstone.
And the Tombstone.
Yeah.
I met Kenny in camp. I was going to church in those days.
Yeah.
I was a camp counselor. And in fact, Rudy Cheeks was one of my campers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was his camp counselor. People get a kick out of that. It was camp for younger boys, and Rudy was 10.
Yeah.
And I was his counselor. He was funny then, though. He used to mimic all the other counselors. He was hot shit. But Kenny showed up, because Kenny, he was older, but he had just put a record out. I think Fallen Idol was the name of the record. It could have been on Epic. But he had just put out 45, and his father was an Episcopal minister. But Kenny was in New York partying too hard, and I think Dad stepped in and said, okay, you got to dry out and talk to Canon Parsley, who was the boss, and got Kenny to spend the summer up at camp.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. We just took to each other. Kenny made a gut bucket bass out of an old wash tub.
Wow.
The real thing.
Yeah.
With like a broom handle and a rope that goes down, and he'd play that thing. He had calluses on his hands. Oh my God! But we had so much fun doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a drummer. One of the counselors was a drummer, Charlie Alcieri from Newport. So we had a thing called God's Little Combo, because that year God's Little Acre came out.
Yeah.
And the literary scene. So we call it God's Little Combo because it was a church camp.
Yeah.
But we played every chance we got, and people would love it. And the Jazz Mass came out, written by Father Beaumont. So we ended up playing that and going all around Rhode Island. And God's Little Combo would play the Jazz Mass in all these churches, which we thought was quite cool too.
Yeah.
Which was the Eucharist, the communion service.
Okay.
But it was put to more modern music. It wasn't the hymns. It was
no. But were you pulling from some of these other influences that you had? Like,
oh yeah. They had a thing. I think it's still up, called Mox Kyrie.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I would play these changes, which pretty much were like rock and roll, almost basic rock and roll changes.
Yep.
But you were able to sing the Kyrie to it. Lord have mercy upon us, Christ have mercy upon us, Lord have mercy upon us. When it came out musically, it came out cool.
Yeah.
And we would do that. And then they had other things other things they had already written, that had already been written down. We learned that and played that.
Yeah, okay.
So it was kind of bluesy.
Yep.
Yeah.
How did Tombstone start then? I mean, you're a founding member of that as well.
Well, the camp stopped, and then I guess Kenny went and got married. I was over his house a couple of times. We did stay in touch with each other because he was an influence on me, and he totally backed up everything I could do.
Okay.
He really liked me a lot, and he loved playing everything that we did. And then we didn't see each other a while, and then I got a call from him saying he's playing at Bovey's Tavern in East Providence on Tuesday nights. And he's got some friends stopping over and playing. Somebody's playing tambourine. That was Bill McQuaid and Alabella on bass. He said, come on over, play the piano on Tuesday night. Have a little jam. I said, sure. That would be great. And that's what happened. And that's how it kind of started. And then Duke Robillard heard about it.
Yeah.
And Duke came on in. And this other wonderful harp player, Steve Nardella, he came. And, it was a blues band.
Yeah.
All blues. We didn't do any rock and roll or none of that. Just hardcore blues.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun. And there weren't any other blues bands around.
Yeah, because this was late, mid-60s? What year did it start?
Yeah, 1966 or 67.
Okay.
It started.
Yeah.
And it became the thing to do on Tuesday nights, which is a real off night. But all the kids from RISD would come, and the kids from Brown, they packed the place every Tuesday. That was where to be. Yep. And they would dance and run outside and smoke pot and all this shit and come back in. And, it was party night. It was time to party.
Yeah.
And it was blues.
Yeah.
I remember this guy, Bob Mason came. He was a drummer. And he played for the band called the Fugs. I don't know if you ever heard of them. F-U-G-S, out of New York, which is a very contemporary type of rock and roll band. But he came, and we had quite the band. It was called the Tombstone Blues Band.
Yep.
And then different people left for various reasons. Duke left. And Steve, Duke left to go start a band called the Black Cats, their own blues band. They just didn't like the way it was being run, and blah, blah, blah. And then I think they left that, and he went and started the Room Full of Blues.
Yeah.
With all the horns and all that kind of stuff. But the Tombstone kept going. For 32 years, I played with Kenny.
Wow.
I know, that is a wow. It really is. I said, no, it can't be. I didn't know it is.
Yeah.
And, but we would have arguments. Oh my God. Because we were doing more and more and more rock and roll.
Oh, like just the sound was changing, so you kind of butt heads on
it. It was less blues, more rock.
Yep.
It happened slowly, but I wanted the blues.
Yeah.
I was embedded in that. But we would do more and more rock and roll. People would come, and we had different nights all over the state. We had Devon View in on one night, like Wednesdays, Bowie's on Tuesdays, Gulliver's on Thursdays. We were all over the place.
Yeah, just constantly playing.
There was just plenty of gigs then, and there were plenty of bands.
Yeah.
Lots of places to play.
And you did some touring as well, right? You did a lot of...
What?
You did touring with Tombstone as well?
We did. We started doing that stuff.
Yeah.
We got these calls to play up in Maine somewhere. And then actually at some point, we'd travel down to New York and open up for a band down there. Then we'd be doing some touring.
Yeah.
And then his producers, Mike and Stu, they produced an album of the Tombstone.
Yeah.
And they got us hooked up with this one and that one.
Yeah.
And they got us on a tour. Queen had just come out.
Yeah.
And Queen was on a tour opening up for, oh man, I can't think.
It was Mott the Hoople, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mott the Hoople. Queen opening up a Mott the Hoople.
Yeah.
How they stuck us in there, I have no idea. There's this American bunch of white guys, and you know, I don't think we belonged on that, but we went anyway, of course.
Yeah.
And it turned out really nice.
Yeah.
The Queen was a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
It was always interesting after a gig. We'd meet back at the hotel. We'd all be on the same floor, and people would be going in and out of each other's rooms, and all these jam sessions would be going on.
Wow.
It was really wow, yeah. And the guitar players from our band, Tommy and Paul and John, they'd be going to their rooms, and they'd be coming to our rooms, and it was a party.
Yeah.
And those were the days of that show. I remember Roger, the drummer from Queen, he came walking into me and he says, Mark, you got any charge? I looked at him and said, no, I'm sorry, Roger, I really don't. Then he walked up to Ed and I, Tommy, you got any charge? And no, he looked and I looked at each other. It turned out charge was hashish.
Oh.
That's what the English call hash, was charge. They look at hash. I guess they finally found it.
Yeah.
In those days, you could get anything anyway.
Yeah.
You know, our roadies, Ray and John, they would carry stuff around. They'd always have plenty of pot around.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it was. I look back at that, but we did a lot of opening up with big bands came to town. Big, I mean, talking like Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
We opened up for her at the Worcester Central.
Wow.
And lots of other bands at the Providence Civic Center or at Lupo's. I mean, we opened up for people.
Yeah.
And tons of them.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing thing to do. Canned Heat.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. I can't think of them all because it's just Big Mama Thornton was a big one at Lupo's.
Yeah.
And we opened up, and we played blues that night. We didn't do any rock and roll that night. And I remember after we got through our set, Lupo's dressing room or band room, if you will, was down in the cellar. And it was nothing more than kegs of beer all over the place and a table and some chairs. That was the dressing room.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went down there. Everybody was already down there, but I went to get a beer at the bar. And I walked down, and it was like quiet out there. But Big Mama Thornton was holding court. She was wearing this gold dress and this gold hat. She was just sitting there. She was the queen, and that's all there was to it. And I walked in, and she looked at me, and she said, I'll never forget this. She said, and you are good. Oh my God. To be told that like Big Mama Thornton was like the blessing coming from on high. Oh my God.
That's amazing.
And so I just sat down with the rest of them and just kept my mouth shut. I mean, and then she, pretty quick, she went up to play. We all went up to listen to her. And it was like, oh my God. It was like her voice, the blues. I mean, to be able to sit here now and say, I heard Big Mama Thornton sing, is huge. People don't even know who she is. But, I mean, she goes back to those early records that I listened to that Louis used to play for us in his living room on the old Victrola. He'd say, here, now listen to this one. This is Big Mama Thornton. Wow. And then I ended up opening up for her, and she said I was good. Oh, my God. I mean, I'm spoiled for the rest of my life. Yeah, and there were many of those kind of like Janis Joplin. She was wonderful. We got through, and she was listening to us from the side of the stage, backstage. She loved the band. And we got through, and we walked over, and she motions me, come over here. And she, you know, she had the proverbial bottle of Southern Comfort. There it was, it's real. I said, yeah, have a pull of this. You're a good player, man. You're good. And then, of course, Kenny, he came right over. He had to stand right next to her. He weaseled right in there. And they were just passing the bottle all around. You know, her band and our band. And,
yeah.
You know, just unbelievable. And I found, you find out after dealing with these people, Canned Heat, Grateful Dead, whatever, Aerosmith, these big names are really down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have what people would expect to have, these humongous egos.
Yeah.
They didn't. They knew who they were.
Yeah.
They were as down to earth as sitting here talking to you and me.
Yeah.
And it'd be really funny to come back from a tour and opening up somebody like this. And you come back to Providence and some band is playing down at the Last Call or down by where the living room used to be. And they thought they were king shit. And it was really funny to make that notice.
Yeah.
You know, here's these guys that haven't gotten off the block yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's all part of the music thing.
It is, yeah.
You know, it's all in there. We've all had it and got it, or dealt with it one way or the other. But that was an interesting thing. You know, to notice all that. And I feel very grateful to have opened for the people that I've opened with and played with the people like Duke Robillard and lots of other musicians. I'm really happy that I've had that opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Then you see, you know, then there was some of the stuff that was really sad. I would go, like, in my younger days when I couldn't drink, but sometimes I could get away with it. If a big name came to town, which they did, like Coleman Hawkins. I went to hear Coleman Hawkins at a bar up in North Providence. And he just wasn't good. He'd been doing it too many years, and he had definitely drank too much that night.
Yeah.
And that's sad to see.
Yeah.
That you don't want to, but that is part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the jazz world, or the blues world, or the music world, and in many cases, is not kind.
No.
To one's, you know, depending on how deep down people let themselves go. And there's a lot of addiction, as you well know, and it's very sad to see. Charlie Parker, I don't even want to start to get into that.
Yeah,
it's just so sad.
Yeah, there's like some
Chet Baker. When he first came out, he was a young guy, looked like you. He looked young.
Yeah.
And then within 15 to 20 years, he looked like an old man.
Wow.
I saw pictures of him. I said, that's Chet Baker. But that's what some of that stuff can do to you. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks how much these things are unfortunately kind of linked together. Of like being an artist has a lot of connections to mental health issues and drinking and drug and other addictions, and they seem to be a little bit kind of folded in together. So
look, I had mentioned earlier the pictures of jazz, and they all had a cigarette or a drink. I love that because it gave me an image. I didn't have an image for myself. I didn't have one. I had no idea who the hell I was. I was a crazy teenager, 15, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I saw the music. I heard the music, and at the same time, I got interested in anything creative.
Yeah.
The artwork. I wasn't, an artist, but I learned about Picasso and all the, all the artwork, the poetry.
Yeah.
Jack Kerouac. All the poets. E. Cummings.
Yeah.
J.D. Salinger, the writers, all that stuff. Norman Mailer, all these things was all in one big old pot. and grab in anything you want, because they would relate to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they would write about going out to hear a jazz band at Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
There'd be poetry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so to me, it all mixed very well together. And I somehow felt as though I was some kind of a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mark in Providence, that's it. Big deal, but at least I felt as though I was somebody. I had a entity, if you will, identity.
Yeah. But you did a bunch of records with Tombstone, correct?
We did some records.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the experience of recording with them?
I loved it. Just to be in a real recording studio, just that in itself.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Where did you record?
We recorded, it was mostly rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
Kenny wrote.
Yeah.
We did do something by Leonard Cohen that John did.
But where was the studio? Was it here in Providence?
The studio
or like here in Rhode
was in
Island?
New York.
New York, okay.
Greenwich Village, the Electric Lady.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, wow, it was right.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Jimi Hendrix studio.
Yeah.
Oh, my, I don't believe it. And that studio was amazing. Paintings, all these beautiful paintings up and down all the hallways. And the men's room and living room paintings, all these gorgeous pieces of artwork.
Yeah.
And there was this big studio where you could fit an orchestra in if you wanted to. Then there was Studio B, where apparently, which is where Jimmy did most, that's where he liked his stuff.
Okay.
It was a small studio, and that's where we recorded.
Wow.
And what a wonderful experience that was.
Yeah.
The producers were Mike and Stu were the producers, the one that got us in there. We did, I think we did a couple of albums, but I think only one got released. But we did other recording in New York. I don't know if you ever heard of Jay Ballerton. He lived in Providence here.
No.
He lived on Benefit Street. He was friends, he was a folky kind of guy.
Yep.
And so we met up with Jay, and like Kenny really backed me up and helped me. And he did the same thing with Jay. He said, wow, Jay, you're a wonderful writer.
Yeah, okay.
Let's put some bass on this. Hey, let me call my friend Mark, put piano on there.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Jay, and there were other musicians. And we ended up going to New York and playing and recording down there for Jay. And that was, again, just a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's a real, this is a recording studio.
Yeah.
This is where it's really, oh my God. Yeah.
This is where it's happening.
Yeah. Here you are. You're playing the piano that Ahmad Jamal probably played.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. A monk could have played that. You know. Easily.
Wow.
And I'm grateful to have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. I know that you also continued to do some solo stuff, correct? Like you were doing things at Leo's and hi-hat and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about your experience doing that type of music that you were doing, and was it just inspired because you seem like someone that loves to play, always wants to play, and will just take any opportunity to do that? Is that?
Well, yeah, there's some truth to that. Because I used to complain to Kenny about when we're doing too much rock and roll.
Yeah.
And he would give me a ride home. Of course, we'd both be high at that time.
Like after practice or after shows or whatever?
After a show, driving up from the inn down in Narragansett. And he'd give me a ride home.
Yeah.
And usually things were cool. Sometimes they weren't. I said, Kenny, why are you calling this a blues band? We don't play any blues. It's all rock and roll. We'd have these arguments, and they'd go back and forth.
Yep.
And, I quit I don't know how many times. He fired me I don't know how many times. It was like Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner.
Really? Yeah.
Of the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because they did that for a whole summer.
Yeah.
Billy Martin got fired. I don't know how many times he got fired. He also quit.
Yeah.
A bunch of I'm out of here. And that's what Kenny and I were doing for a while. And he would drop me off at the house. I said, screw you. That's the end of this crap. He said, okay, Mark, see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we didn't pay attention. But when the band finally stopped, we got together a few times to have little musical reunions.
Yep.
But didn't keep going. But we did play the gigs. But then I got interested in other music. I was a hardcore jazz guy and a hardcore blues guy. At that time, I had no use for rock and roll at all.
No. Okay.
But as time went, I went, wow, Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum. What a gorgeous piece of music. Then the Beatles came out.
Yeah.
I didn't like them till they did Yesterday.
Yep.
I thought, wow, what a beautiful piece. Then I really started listening to all kinds of music. I found that I loved a lot of different kinds of music. I play over here at Chez Pascal still.
Yep.
From the back of my truck. And I like it all. I want to play the boogie woogie, but I want to do Whiter Shade of Pale. I want to do blues. I want to do some rock and roll. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just so much good music out there.
Yeah.
I pick tunes that I enjoy playing.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know piano players, they say, well, you can't do it. You got to learn this and you got to learn that, and you got to play those songs. And I thought, no, I don't. Yeah. I hate that kind of material.
Yeah.
But I would learn the stuff that I want to learn.
Yeah.
You know, Georgia, which is a beautiful piece of music. It's a classic. Mm-hmm. If they want a really standard, I'll give them something like that, or any number of ones that I do. But they got to be songs I like to play, because you're going to play good. Yeah. If you enjoy what you're doing, obviously. If you're sitting there playing a song you can't stand, you're not going to put much into it.
No, it's going to be like this. How many more times? Like, I got to play another chorus and verse, and then I'm done with this song. And I can move on. Yeah. Exactly. Instead of like really excited for the next part, and I can't wait till the bridge, to push yourself to that next. Yeah.
You're not exactly. Yeah. I've been there too. Yeah. This way, it works better. Yeah. So
it just allowed for you to be creative and express yourself and share the music that you love, playing these solo shows.
Exactly. Yeah. And people enjoy it. Yeah. It comes out. Yeah. I play quite often at the Providence Art Club.
Okay.
And that's a wonderful place to play. They got the Steinway there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need any amps for that thing. And it's beautiful. It's over 200 years old. A year ago, they just had it. They took it down to Avery Piano, and they went through the whole thing.
Wow.
The whole piano. Yeah. It was made over 200 years ago. And playing that piano is just amazing. It took me a while just to get the response that you just gently hit that. Ping, you hear it. Or ba-boom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It reverberates through the whole.
Yeah, chandeliers gone for. But they built them in those days, like Carnegie Hall, before electricity.
Yeah, so they needed to be as
so
loud.
They built Carnegie Hall acoustically in mind, and they built piano. Steinway built piano acoustically in mind. So the people sitting way, way, way up in the cheap seats, way in the back of the balcony, they could hear that little ping. Yeah. That the classical player, mostly was classical. They could hear it. And that is amazing about that. And I have the opportunity to play something like that. And I love playing for art shows. I'd rather play in a situation where there's something going on in the background. I want conversations going on. I want to hear laughter. I want to hear the clinking of glasses.
Yeah.
I'm more relaxed. I have had to play it, probably still will. Every now and then somebody has, it's almost a concert kind of a thing. Everybody's just quiet and they listen to you.
Yeah.
I can do it, but I'm not that crazy about that. I want the clinking of glasses and the laughter.
Yeah.
It's just more relaxed. And they're relaxed, and then people will say, Sheemark, doesn't it bother you no one's listening? I said, they're listening.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll come up to me after us. I love the way you did this. I love the way you did that.
Yeah.
And all that. And I feel very fortunate to be a piano player. Because if you're a trombone player, it's hard to do a solo gig.
Yeah.
Or a drummer.
Yeah. I mean, no one's hiring the solo drummer to
yeah, that's a tough one.
to play the cocktail hour or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a hard gig to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it, and it doesn't feel like it's that long, but it is. Like I mentioned, I started when I was 15. I'm 77. That's 62 years. I said, no, it can't be. It can't be. I'm not even 63 years old. What are you talking?
Yeah.
But that's how
long you've been doing it.
That's how it goes back. But I feel very blessed to have the influences that I've had. Very thankful for the Prisco family who turned me on to my best friend Billy and his older brother Louie.
Yep.
Who turned me on to all this stuff. I never heard it. And it was the opening of the door for me.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about some of the duo stuff that you do as well. One thing that comes to mind, and kind of just talking about playing, I guess we'll call it more the background music. I remember seeing you with Jeff Krastowski from the Low Anthem. You did I guess you'd call it a group with him. It was sort of like a residency at, what was the name of the Tina's, the Jamaican restaurant?
Yeah.
I remember seeing you over there.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, how did you connect with Jeff? And
I met up with Jeff. I was playing a gig downstairs at the Civic Center, or one of those places. It was a small venue, but there were a lot of people there, and they used that. And Jeff, after a while, if somebody's watching you, you get conscious that somebody's over there looking at you.
Yeah.
And he just stayed there. And I just kept playing. I stopped, and he'd be there. With his girlfriend, I think. Then after he came up to me. And he talked about, I would really like to, I said, I play bass. You want to try to get together and do some gigs or something? He said, I know this place, Mama Tina's.
Yeah.
Up on that one. I said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we put together some tunes, and that we did that for a while, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And that's how I met all those people. And that's a whole other crowd, the West End,
like the Columbus Theater crew. And
they're in the Columbus Theater.
Yeah.
And I recorded a couple of times for them over there. They need a piano on something.
Oh, so
I got a couple of calls to, do that. But Jeff was wonderful, and they all were. They are interesting people. But I love Mama Tina's.
Yeah.
Wow, they were great.
Yeah. And then, obviously, you play with your son.
Yeah.
Two Tabors.
The Two Tabors, that's just outright fun.
Yeah.
That is a blessing.
Really? Yeah.
It really is. His mother plays bass.
Okay.
Julie plays bass. So he's got and she has a wonderful ear.
Uh-huh.
I got an ear, but not that good an ear. She's got a great ear. Somebody hits a chord, she can
name
her
that.
mother had a greater ear.
Yeah.
So Sam's got the best ear. I'm okay. But at times he comes down from Boston, and the three of us will sit in Julie's living room. There's a piano and another electric piano, or two of them. We'll set up, and just the three of us will play.
Yeah.
And that is just the most wonderful thing to do. And then Sam and I don't know how it even happened, but somebody heard us. They said, "Oh man, you gotta come over, and you and Sam gotta play for us," and blah blah blah. And Sam and I just love to work each other, and we don't do it enough, and we're always saying, gee, but I hope we can get some more gigs. But
Yep.
we did some openers. We did Tower of Power up in Boston. We opened 2 tables, opened the Tower of Power. I think 2 or 3 times in Boston.
Yeah.
We opened up for B.B. King at Lupo's. There's something that there's something to put on the chart. The 2 tables opening for B.B. King. But it's just so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And musically, we know where each other's going. We look at each other.
And sometimes you play the same piano. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a real ball, because we start crossing hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he'll be like this, way out here, carrying a big bass and a big top. I'll put both of my hands in the middle.
Yeah.
Then he's over here. Then I just see him. Sometimes, I don't know whose hands are doing what, but we cross over that because people love that. They applaud that.
That's so cool.
That's magic, and it kind of is. And when we're driving home from that, like we did that, I think you were there, down at the Nearness.
Oh, yeah.
And every time we drive home after we play together, Sam will say, Dad, how do we do that? I don't have the slightest clue. I don't know how we do it. We just do it. We just look at each other, sit down.
There's just a connection
we
between
just
you
nod
two.
And make sure we're in the same key. That's kind of screwed up on my part a few times.
Yeah.
Dad, we're in C. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's a treat for him as much as it is for me. But what's really nice, it's a treat for other people.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems that it just comes from a fun place, and that you're just able to share music,
Exactly.
with each other,
Yep.
and share music with the audience. But it seems that it's just like an in the moment type of band,
Yeah. It is nice. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to do with your own son. I mean, not a lot of people get that opportunity. He's getting more. He's 30 now.
Yeah.
And he's coming to more and more of his own.
Like finding his own
musical
sound.
ideas, Because he would get stuff from me, but then eventually he's getting his own stuff, and the stuff he got from me, I got from Errol Garner or Oscar Peterson or Thelonious Monk. It's just, music just passes its way through. We all have our influences.
But yeah, I mean, you were talking about Nearness. I did see you there recently with Mark Tabor Band, which has a pretty all-star lineup that's in there of yourself and Marty Richards. He's a phenomenal drummer. Like, he's someone that when I've seen him play and I'm watching him, like, I don't even understand what he's doing some of the times. He's incredible. But Marty Ballou and
Marty and Marty are unbelievable.
Yeah.
No matter who they play with, they are amazing.
Yeah. They fill in on a lot of stuff, and they play. It seems that they're on par with you of just being an accompanist.
They know me really good. We haven't done. I mean, I have to laugh at the Mark Tabor Band. There really is no such thing.
Yeah.
So that's what they call them. I saw that ad, and I said, "Oh my God!" But they call me, occasionally they'll call me,
Yep.
come, let's go do it again. It was fun the last time. And we did a place down in East Greenwich, or one of those, the Pump House.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool place.
Yeah.
And it was with Marty and Marty.
Yeah.
And it was just fun.
Yeah.
The three of us and they played their asses off, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God. Some of the
They're
stuff
just fun to watch. And they, I mean, I love to watch people that are having fun playing. Like, it just, I know that it's probably like can be an obvious statement or whatever else, but I've seen a lot of, you've seen a lot of music. You can kind of tell the people that are just trying to get through the set, get through the songs. Maybe they're having fun, but I connect more with the ones that are like really into it and are into the band and just looking for that experience. And I mean, how many shows have you all played? I mean, if you like collectively with the Martys and yourself, like how many hundreds of thousands of hours have you guys played music, and you're still doing it, and still, from my view, from the audience, you're still loving to do it. You're still going to Nickeney's on a Wednesday night and playing, and just.
I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
To be able to.
Yeah.
I know there are various musicians younger than I, and they've had to stop.
Yeah.
Because of physical problems or they had a stroke or whatever. I mean, it's nasty.
Yeah.
And I just consider myself a fortunate person to be still playing. And I don't think 77 is an old man. I'm no spring chicken either, but you're pushing it. A friend of mine, Marcy, she was friends with, who was the piano player? Oh, I'm going to mess this up. He was like in his 80s. And she brought him over to my house on Charles Street. And I couldn't believe, I live on the 3rd floor, and he walked up the stairs, and there he was, this big, tall, black guy. Oh, man, I can't think of his name. That's so embarrassing. But there he was. And he said, I want you to meet Mark. Blah, 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 blah. And he was just, he sat down. He was as nimble as you could imagine. I mean, some people just keep on going and going and going. And then Thelonious Monk was in his 60s. Just stopped. That was it.
Really?
Yeah. No more recording, no more playing. That was the end of it. Just stopped the whole thing. Watched a movie on television. Weird. Like everything else, there's no guideline to go by. What's going to happen to you is going to happen to me. I mean, we'll do what we can do.
Yeah. You did a lot in events with Amos House for a while, right? The Super Bowl, is that what it was called?
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about some of that, like that specific thing, but also just some of that work, some of the other charity events and stuff?
Well, obviously, anything charity is never a charge, obviously. And I'm just happy to do it.
Yeah.
It's usually alone.
Yeah.
Lots of times.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'll get there early. I'm always way too early.
Yeah.
What was it called? That bar in Jamestown.
Narragansett Cafe, that one?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Narragansett Cafe. And we had a gig. We had to start at 5. I was there at 12:30 and got my piano set up because I didn't, beach traffic. You never know.
Yeah.
Flat tire. I was there at 12:30.
Yeah.
And the owner was laughing. He's not getting a little weird. That's all right. And I got all set up, ready to go. And this book I was reading, I went down to the water, and just sat by the water and totally enjoyed reading for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours.
Yep.
I met this very interesting person down there. I had a wonderful conversation with her. That was fascinating. Then I said, excuse me, but I gotta go. I gotta play up the street. And there's just that relaxing thing about that.
Yeah.
Then I just go in, sit down, and play rather than, chewing my cud about how you're gonna go. I gotta be there. I gotta be there. I gotta be there. I gotta be there.
Yeah.
I have anxiety, so the way I cope with that is to be early, and play way longer. So lots of times I don't stop. I was played at a place in Cranston. And I go in, get there early, I'm playing away, everything's fine. And I noticed people started leaving.
Like, we got to work in the morning, Mark. Yeah.
I thought they didn't like. I thought I took it personal.
Oh, really?
I guess they didn't like that. Yeah. All right, let me try this, And then more people got up and left. I finally looked at my watch. It was 1:15.
Yeah.
And the owner was sitting at the bar with a friend of his. They got drinking shots because he owns the place.
Yeah.
And I went over. I was wondering why people, he started laughing. He said, no, like it was 1 o'clock. No, we close at 1. I should have told you to stop. He and I were enjoying your music. And we just kept drinking. But lots of times I won't take a break. You get into a zone.
Yeah.
And I guess you do too. I think most musicians do.
Yeah. Yeah,
you get
I'm
into
definitely
a zone
not.
and and it's fine. What happened was going to happen.
Yeah. What was it like playing in the Jackie Beat Orchestra? I mean, that was
That was fun because he had a lot of people, a lot of different people playing in there that I hadn't played with.
Yeah.
Tommy was in there for a while, but he had some other musicians. It was great to play with. We didn't do many gigs.
Yeah, I did a couple at Chan's, I remember.
Yeah, we didn't do much.
But it was still like a standout project with Rudy Cheeks and Tommy Enright and stuff.
We did a few gigs.
Yeah.
But we rehearsed every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
That was kind of a fun thing up at his place over on Summer Street.
Yeah.
Upstairs up there. And it was very different kind of material, obviously.
Yeah.
All that young adult stuff. It was fun to play.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And again, we played with different musicians, and Rudy was fine. That was before his stroke, obviously. But he was very easy to work for and with.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I wish we had done more gigs, but we just didn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I know that the most important show you ever did was you played my wedding.
Right. I still got pictures of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was an honor to have you be a part of that day. And
thank you. I felt wonderful about doing it.
Yeah. Have you ever played on top of Newtoconkinent Hill before and that scene?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty...
I've never been. I didn't even know that place was even there.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And I was playing, I don't know if you know, I was playing while people were coming.
Yep.
And at one point, the minister came down.
Yeah.
And he just didn't care for what I was doing. And he looked at me quite sternly and said, excuse me, but you need to play a little more professionally. That's not professional. I'm not allowed. So I kept it to ballads.
Yeah, yeah.
No more boogie woogie. Let's kick off. No more boogie. No more Beatles. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But people were enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We loved it. Justin loved it.
That's why I was doing it. Yeah. But that's a funny thing with that, because occasionally I would meet up with somebody that I played their wedding.
Yep.
And he said, do you remember my wife? I certainly do. He said, well, thanks you. I said, thank you for asking me. I said, I only play for the ones who stick together. That's my rule.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, we're doing that. So.
Yeah.
Love it more than anything. So. And yeah, we're here on the east side of Providence right now. We're actually across the street from Chez Pascal. Can you kind of quickly talk about that and really kind of how that came about? Was it with the owners of the restaurant that you started playing outside?
It was the owner. It was when COVID hit.
Yep.
And everybody calls it the pandemic, but it just screwed up everything, and I call it the goddamic. That's my word for it. But Matt, the owner, Matt and Christian,
yep,
he called me up. He's, Mark, I got an idea. Pull your pickup truck, because there's no indoor dining. Can't have it. Outdoor dining only. Pull up your pickup truck. I'm going to run an extension cord out, hook up, wear a mask, and let's see how it goes. Mm-hmm. And it's been going ever since.
Yeah,
you know, weather permitting, and people enjoyed it.
Yeah, what days are you playing?
It's usually Fridays and Saturdays, but their food is delicious.
Yes.
And I have to say that the people that work there are better than the food. They are just the nicest bunch. All the wait staff and the bartenders, they all do all the different jobs. Mm-hmm. They all know how to do everything. Mm-hmm. And they're just the nicest bunch of people over there. You can have fun with them, and great. And they always send me home with food.
There you go.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And Matt's the best, and I put on my Gilbane construction hat for a tip jar with a piece of bacon sticking out, a little bacon man, which is kind of appropriate to the pork that they're into. And I've done really well. I do really well with that. Getting tips. I'll start around 4:30 and go up to about 9.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe stop once, take a quick break to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I tease them. Mark, what are you doing? I said, I'm going inside because I'm using the indoor plumbing. I am sick and tired of being told I have to go pee in the park. and they're looking at it. I said, I know, I'm only the piano player. I don't care. No more peeing in the park. It's light out. People can see me. It's not funny. Kids are wondering. I'm using the indoor toilet.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. They're just a good bunch.
Yeah.
And then they'll kid me about it. And then the word will get around.
Yeah.
Mark, you have to go indoors for anything? I said, well, yeah. Don't let Matt see you. I was, okay. I'll sneak by the other way, as long as Matt does it, because Matt, again, you're just a piano player. I know, there's no big deal here. You don't get to use the indoor plumbing. Come on. Yeah.
I thought you would get special privileges, but
you would think.
Yeah. All right. We'll go talk to the owners.
Well, I don't want to start trouble.
Yeah. Well, Mark, what would you say is your greatest musical accomplishment to this point?
That's kind of a tough one, but the thing that comes to mind really is probably playing with Sam.
Yep.
My son.
Yeah, that must be.
Musically, it's not the most difficult piece of music I've ever played, but the accomplishment part of it is playing with my own kid. Yep. And being able to.
Yeah.
To me, that's the biggest, nicest musical thing I think I've ever done.
Yeah.
And besides opening for various people, I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Being in a band with Kenny and opening up a Janis Joplin, oh my God, that's just huge.
Yeah.
And there's been other things like that too. But the biggest thing I think is playing with my family, playing music with my own son. I feel very blessed with that. And that we can still do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you are. I mean, that's an incredible thing. It's something that, that I aspire to.
It's nothing. It's nothing that we tried to do.
Yeah.
It was there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we both read the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And said, "Wow, we can do this."
Yeah.
Because he would stand behind me when he was just learning. He'd stand behind me and watch every move I made, and then pretty much could sit down and do a lot of it. That's what I said.
Yeah.
How did you do it? I said, you know how long it took me to learn that chord? Putting those 3 chords together took me a long time. You just watch me sit down and do it. How do you do it? How do you do it? I mean...
Yeah, can you teach me?
Yeah, well, show me some stuff. That's your turn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, that to me is the biggest thing that I can be grateful for.
Yeah.
And happy to do all the benefits, and there's been a lot of those, and there still will be. And I just, because I don't have a lot of money, and I don't care. There's always enough. It comes in one hand, it goes out the other. Fine with me. But I feel good that with these benefits, I can do something for somebody. I mean, I can't give them money, but I can give them 3 or 4 hours of music that other people are going to enjoy and put money in the jar.
Yeah.
You know, that's
sharing your talents and
that's
recognizing.
That last one where you were at was for Julie D. She was the one in the wheelchair. She had a stroke. And Sam and I wanted to, do something, raise some money somehow. And which we did. And later I asked, how much, just out of curiosity, how'd you make out? And her neighbor knew. She got $1,400 from that. Yeah. That's pretty darn good. That's like way more. I thought if she got $500, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But people just put and that's not a big barroom.
Yeah.
But people were really helpful with it. And generous. Wow. So that makes you feel good that it isn't just the music, but you're doing something in this difficult world we're living in now.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to, and you're able to. You're just a piano player in a barroom, but if people are having a good time and enjoying it, you took them away from the Trumpism. You took them away from all this other stuff that's going on and all the racial hatred, and just let them be happy for a while and just take their mind. I like it when people say, God, I really enjoyed hearing you tonight. I had such a break tonight, and that really makes you feel good. Give them a break. It's not going to change the world, but at least you're putting something good out there.
Yeah.
Something positive. You're not just adding to the negativity.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Mark, I love you. You're just such an amazing person, and I've told you in the past, well, I'll say it again, that I get excited just to see you. Thank you for all that you've done in Rhode Island music and continue to do. It's an honor to get to speak with you and share your story. So thanks for your time, and I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
I think I got through the whole interview without saying the F-bomb, which is that's pretty good for me. Really.
Yeah.
Bye.